Heather, and I'm a master level employee at Pillars of Wellness. And you are joining us today on our series of coping with anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Today we will be covering self-esteem. We will be talking about what self-esteem is, thoughts and beliefs that impact self-esteem, and ways to increase self-esteem. So we talk about self-esteem and self-compassion together because there is a difference between the two. Self-compassion is talking to ourselves how we would a friend. Self-compassion allows us to be kind to ourselves, even during times that we struggle, while self-esteem reflects how we feel about ourselves. Self-esteem is a positive evaluation of self-worth, and self-compassion isn't a judgment or evaluation at all. Self-compassion is a way of relating to ourselves with kindness and acceptance. Self-compassion can boost self-esteem, which is why we talk about the two together. Oftentimes, people will find it much easier to show others compassion and grace compared to themselves. However, this quote reminds us that we are all deserving of compassion. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. So self-compassion can be done in 3 ways. It involves showing kindness towards oneself, forgiving one's faults or mistakes. This can involve soothing and comforting oneself, even when you are suffering. It also involves that recognizing no human is perfect. Pain is an inevitable part of being human. It also involves building mindfulness of emotions, painful thoughts and feelings, but not letting them consume you. So now take a moment to consider, what are some barriers to offering yourself compassion? Is it that you feel like it's selfish? Is it that you feel undeserving of that compassion? Taking a moment to identify what the barriers are is a starting place to being able to accept yourself that compassion so that you can navigate through those barriers. So now that we know what self-compassion is, well, what is it not? Some people may have the idea that self-compassion means throwing a pity party for poor me. Self-compassion is an antidote to self-pity. According to Neff and Dermer, people who are self-compassionate are less likely to ruminate on their problems because self-compassion means we focus on common humility, that everyone goes through struggles. This allows us to take this perspective of other people. I have to be strong to get through life. Self-compassion is for the weak. Actually, self-compassion means that you have strength and courage, and it allows you to enhance resilience during times that you may experience challenges. Being self-compassionate is selfish. Self-compassion allows us to give more to others in relationships. Self-compassion can actually mean that you are more compassionate, forgiving, and caring toward other people. As that quote talked about, it's oftentimes easier to grant grace and compassion to other people rather than ourselves. So if we're able to start with ourselves and do it for us, then we're able to do it more for other people. Self-compassion will make me lazy. Neff and Germer state that self-compassion inclines us towards long-term health and well-being rather than short-term pleasure. Self-compassion will undermine my motivation. Actually, self-criticism undermines self-confidence and increases the fear of failure. Self-compassion allows us to come to terms with ourselves and encourage us to reach for our higher potential. Now we're going to talk about some beliefs and thoughts that can influence self-esteem. Core beliefs are most deeply ingrained ideas about ourselves, others, the world, the present, and the future. Some examples of harmful core beliefs may be, I am never good enough, I am worthless, others cannot be trusted, I am unlovable, and the world is dangerous. Now, these are often formed at an early age or during tough times in adulthood. Some of the consequences of harmful core beliefs are interpersonal problems, including difficulty trusting others, feelings of inadequacy in relationships, and putting other needs above your own. It can also result in mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, substance use, and low self-esteem. Now we're going to look at an example of how a core belief can play into our thoughts and behaviors. So if we have two people with different core beliefs and they're thinking about asking someone on a date. Now, person A has a core belief of I am unlovable. The thought they'll have is, well, they won't want to go out with me anyways. I don't deserve love. The feeling they have might be depressed, loneliness, and their behavior is they make no attempt to get to know the person. They don't even try. Now, person B thinks I'm a worthwhile and good person. So the thought that they have is maybe we would have fun together. Maybe we could get to know each other. They're feeling hopeful, optimistic, confident. And the behavior is they ask them on a date. They give it a try. Now we're going to play a game of fact or fiction. So these are some statements, and just take a moment to jot down or take note in your head whether you think these are true or false. People are born with core beliefs. Core beliefs usually develop in childhood or during stressful or traumatic periods in adulthood. Information that contradicts core beliefs is often considered. Negative core beliefs are not necessarily true, even if they feel true. Core beliefs tend to be flexible and short-term. All right, so now on to the answers. Core beliefs are actually learned. You are not born with them. Core beliefs do usually develop in childhood or during stressful or traumatic periods in adulthood. Information that contradicts core beliefs is often ignored. So core beliefs are like magnets. They attract information that tells them they're true and repel information that says that they are false. Negative core beliefs are not necessarily true, even if they feel true. And core beliefs tend to be rigid and long-standing. However, they can be changed. So what do we do with these core beliefs? If they can be changed, how do we work on doing that? Well, some things that you can do is silence your inner critic. Consider, is there evidence for my thoughts? Things that say, yeah, this thought is true. Is there evidence against my thoughts? What is saying that this isn't true? You're working as an investigator, collecting all the evidence that says, yes, this is true, no, this isn't true, and even getting a piece of paper, writing it down, making a 2-column list so that you can see that laid out for you. Am I interpreting this without all the evidence? And what would a loved one think about this situation or thought? Now we're going to look at an example. If someone has the core belief, no one likes me, they're going to write down the information that supports their core belief. Well, my friend didn't answer their phone when I called. My boss gave me negative feedback at work. My partner didn't want to go out together. Then you would look at the information that does not support your core belief. It's rejected. Well, my friend did invite me to his birthday party. My partner made me a get well basket when I was sick. My coworker stopped me in the morning to wish me a good day. And then lastly, you would look at modified information. Now, the modified information is information that says your core belief isn't true, but you connect some type of but to it, some type of exception. I'm close with my parents, but they're my parents, so they don't count. My coworker gave me a get well card, but only because I helped with his work. It was an exchange, not because he just wanted to do it. And once you've collected all the evidence, you can compare it side by side to identify how true that core belief actually is. And based on what we have here, we see that this core belief isn't necessarily true because it's saying no one likes me. However, we have a list here of people that are doing things because they seem to have that caring attitude toward this person. Reframing is another technique that you can use to try to work with those negative core beliefs that you have or negative thoughts. So for each of these statements, see if you can come up with a kinder, gentler self-statement. So we have, I am never good enough. I can't do anything right. I am so stupid. Why can't I do this correctly? I am a loser. I am worthless. I'm so selfish. Now we have some examples of how we can reframe that into a more positive, accurate self-statement. And mindfulness hack for this is that if you take the time just to observe and notice your thoughts without having judgment and pay attention to them, but you're becoming an observer of what your critical voice is telling you. So a thought is just a thought. It's nothing more or nothing less. So a challenge is to try to notice for the next 5 minutes what thoughts come and go in your mind without changing or fixing them and without getting sucked into that thought. Affirmations is another way that you can work with those negative thoughts that you're experiencing. So affirmations are things that you can tell yourself that you feel so that you can feel good about yourself. However, I caution against using affirmations that you don't feel like are true or have the potential to be true, because you don't want to feel like you're just lying to yourself. You want to tell yourself things that you feel like, yeah, I believe this sometimes, or I do believe this. And these are some just examples that I provided so you can get an idea of what is an affirmation. You know, I allow myself to make mistakes and see them as learning opportunities. I allow myself to experience all my emotions and so forth. So I challenge you to tell yourself 3 daily affirmations for 1 week and notice the difference it can make in the thoughts you have about yourself. Setting realistic expectations can also increase your self-esteem. Oftentimes we may set expectations that are not obtainable, and then we feel bad about ourselves for not reaching those expectations, but they weren't attainable to begin with. So to set realistic expectations, get clear on your values. Do you value family? Do you value hard work, loyalty? And evaluate your expectations. What has the past proven to you about this expectation? Has it ever worked out? Has your expectations changed over the years? What is sparking this expectation? Is it actually coming from within? Is it internally driven? Or is someone on the outside setting this expectation for you? If someone on the outside is setting that expectation for you, it doesn't hold as much meaning for you because you're doing it for someone else rather than yourself. Recognize what you can and cannot control in this situation. One fact being that you can only control yourself and not other people. Identify the most realistic takeaway. What will make you feel good about the situation? Set the expectation or goal low because you can only move up from there. So an example of an unrealistic expectation would be, I must show strength, no emotion, and courage at all times. But if we turn that, do some of that reframing into a realistic expectation, it might sound like it is normal to feel vulnerable and afraid. Showing emotion means I'm being authentic, acting as myself. Setting realistic expectations help us grow and become more flexible. Savor life and embrace the messy moments. So 5 steps for nourishing self-esteem are: avoid generic positive affirmations. You want to be specific with your affirmations and make sure that they actually fit with how you feel about yourself. Identify areas of authentic strength or competency. What are you good at? Identify that and then demonstrate that ability. Learn to tolerate positive feedback. Be accepting of that positive feedback you receive from other people. Soak it in. Take it for what it is. And then lastly, self-affirm. Now, these are 10 ways to become a self-liker rather than a self-critic. Don't be afraid to confront your failings. Failure is part of being human, and they're learning opportunities for you to grow as a human being. Step back and enjoy your accomplishments, big and small. Getting up, showering, taking care of yourself physically and mentally is an accomplishment. Learn to look at things you like about yourself in the mirror. Go on a date with yourself. Get to know yourself. Who are you? What do you enjoy? Be in touch with yourself. Strive to be a better person, but don't expect things to change all at once. You didn't get here overnight. You're not going to undo it overnight. Spend a weekend day or evening without worrying about how you look. Think about the past, but don't let yourself be overwhelmed with regret. The past is an opportunity to learn, but don't let yourself get sucked into it. Understand that no one is perfect. Enjoy your personality and like most of yourself as much as you can. Going back to unrealistic expectations, it may be unrealistic to have the ideology that you have to accept all of yourself all the time. So get to that point where you can like most of yourself for most of the time. And those are my references. So if you want additional information, you can check those out to get some additional information on the things that were discussed in today's lesson. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you all next time.